no more funding for illegal DEI programs. It means no more funding for transgenderism and wokeness.
And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
For the longest, women couldn't be in these positions. Imagine you being the press secretary. You know how silly you are? Then y'all got a show full of women that's silly. Y'all women make people reconsider, should women even be doing this? Karoline Leavitt give us life. Y'all fools make us want to turn a corner.
Let's talk about the fact that Democrats have been labeling President Trump a to democracy for the better half of 10 years. Let's talk about how they have compared him to one of the worst mass in the history of the world, and that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden weaponized the court system and the justice system in this country against Donald Trump in an attempt to imprison him. He sat through a courthouse for 7 weeks this past year, and the Democrats were hoping he would go to jail for it. That is real political that has led to 2 heinous attempts on President Trump's life that by the grace of God, he was able to escape, and he is here with us today. So yes, President Trump knows a little bit about political because he's experienced it himself. And talking about the tragic realities of war that Liz Cheney and her father, Dick Cheney, have got this country into is not political. It's talking about the reality of the foreign conflicts that the Washington, D.C. establishment have sold out young Americans to for decades.
Well, looks like The View just lost one of its loudest voices, and not in the way anyone expected. Insiders are saying Joy Behar, the queen of daytime TV drama, is out. According to them, this wasn't just some retirement send-off or a quiet exit. No, this was messy, like lawsuits, network panic, and scandalously messy. So what went down? Did Joy go a bit too far this time, or did she punch way above her weight? And why is Karoline Leavitt, the new press secretary, at the center of this storm? So this is how everything went downhill. During a heated segment on The View, Joy Behar took a dig at Karoline Leavitt, the new press secretary. But instead of critiquing her policies or experience, Joy went straight for the jugular. She flat out said that Leavitt only got the job because of her size 10. Yeah, you heard that right. Now, if this had been anyone else, maybe the comment would have been brushed off as just another View moment. But coming from Joy, the same Joy Behar who's spent years preaching about women's empowerment and fair treatment, oof. The irony was too much for some people to handle. The second those words left her mouth, the tension shifted. The audience gasped. The co-hosts looked visibly uncomfortable. Even Alyssa Farah Griffin, no stranger to political mudslinging, jumped in to defend Leavitt. But the real storm was brewing outside the studio, and it hit fast.
I think she's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
The second that clip hit the internet, it was game over. Social media erupted, and everyone had something to say. And it wasn't just conservatives calling Joy out. Even people who usually back her were side-eyeing this one. The hypocrisy was just too blatant. One comment summed it up perfectly. So Joy Behar, a so-called feminist, just reduced a woman's entire career to her looks? If a Republican had said this, they'd be canceled by lunchtime. And it didn't stop there. Clips of Joy herself blasting others for making similar comments in the past started resurfacing. People were digging deep into old episodes, finding every moment where she criticized someone for sexist remarks. It was a full-on receipts moment. Meanwhile, Karoline Leavitt wouldn't just sit back and let this slide. Instead of posting some safe statement or ignoring the drama, she went straight for the legal jugular.
Okay, thank you. How are you? Nice live shot. Good. And if you're a deranged lunatic and you're mentally ill, you will believe that lie, and yes, you will.
If Joy thought this would be another internet scandal that would blow over in a few days, she was dead wrong. Karoline Leavitt reportedly sued Behar for defamation, claiming Joy's comments were offensive and malicious. And, to make things worse, she also dragged ABC into it. The lawsuit argued that Joy's words were designed to ruin Leavitt's credibility, making her look like a token hire instead of a legitimate political figure. And if that wasn't enough, legal experts started weighing in, saying she might actually have a case. That's when things really got messy. Because now, ABC wasn't just dealing with another Joy Behar controversy. They were dealing with a lawsuit that could cost them millions. Behind the scenes, it was pandemonium. Executives were panicking, legal teams were working overtime, and staffers at The View, oh, they were divided. Some thought Joy had finally gone too far. Others were terrified that this scandal was about to take down the entire show. Behind closed doors, ABC had some tough decisions to make. Do they defend Joy and fight this out in court? Do they issue some weak apology and hope the backlash dies down? Or do they do what every network does when a controversy gets too big? Cut ties. For days, there were rumors of emergency meetings happening nonstop. Insiders claimed that top executives debated whether to suspend Joy or just push her out quietly. Because if this lawsuit actually went to trial, ABC could end up paying big time. And then, just when people were starting to wonder what would happen next, Joy Behar was gone. ABC released a carefully worded statement saying Joy had decided to step away from the show. But nobody's buying that. This wasn't a retirement party. This wasn't a graceful exit. This was a damage control move, plain and simple. The timing? Suspicious. The lawsuit had just dropped, and suddenly, Joy chooses to leave? Yeah, okay. Behind the scenes, sources say this wasn't really her choice. ABC was done with the drama. Executives knew they had two options: keep her and deal with an expensive, messy legal battle, or cut her loose and hope the backlash dies down. And clearly, they picked option 2. But if they thought firing Joy would make this whole thing disappear, oh, they seriously underestimated the storm that was coming next. Because instead of calming things down, her exit just poured gasoline on the fire. Suddenly, everyone had an opinion. Some people were cheering, saying she finally got what she deserved. Others were furious, calling it a blatant case of cancel culture. And then came the biggest twist. Some of Joy's own fans started turning on ABC. One comment went viral. So now The View is just gonna fire people every time Twitter gets mad? Who's next? Meanwhile, conservatives were celebrating this as a massive win, calling it karma for all the times Joy trashed people on the show. One Fox News host even joked, maybe she should start a podcast. Oh wait, who would listen? And then just when people thought this drama was finally cooling down, Karoline Leavitt broke her silence.
This is all women.
Yeah.
See, this is not black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party.
In an exclusive interview with a conservative media outlet, Leavitt torched Joy Behar, calling her comments sexist, hypocritical, and straight up unprofessional. She didn't just defend herself. She went in on Joy's entire brand, saying that The View had spent years preaching about women's empowerment, only to tear down a woman the second she didn't fit their narrative. And she didn't stop there. Leavitt also made it very clear that she wasn't dropping the lawsuit just because Joy was gone. If anything, her exit proved her point. She called it a desperate move by ABC to dodge accountability and said she was moving forward with legal action against both Joy and the network. In other words, this wasn't over, not even close. With Joy Behar gone and a lawsuit still looming over ABC, people started asking the big question, is this the beginning of the end for The View? Let's be real. Joy was one of the biggest personalities on that show. Whether you loved her or couldn't stand her, she kept the show relevant. Without her, does The View even have the same pull? And ABC's got a major problem on their hands. If they replace Joy with another outspoken liberal, it'll look like they're doubling down on the same bias that got them in this mess. But if they bring in a conservative voice to balance things out, The View's hardcore audience isn't going to be happy. It's a lose-lose situation. Meanwhile, the network is still facing backlash. Some fans feel betrayed that ABC threw Joy under the bus, while others think they didn't go far enough. The lawsuit isn't just a PR nightmare. It could actually cost the network millions. And if Leavitt wins, that sets a whole new precedent for networks getting sued over on-air commentary. So what happens next? Well, if ABC execs are smart, they'll be very careful about who they put in that empty seat. Because one wrong move, and The View might not recover from this one.
But she said there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you.
Is saying she got the job based on looks when DEI is all about based on.
She's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.